24-layer chocolate cake from Mason Pickle. Let's talk about it. We went at the very end of the day. They gave us 2 forks and a knife. I was scared as to how intense this cake was going to be, but it looks beautiful in pictures. However, I did not think it was worth it. The cake itself was like super dry. It was not moist at all, and the cream is just too thick. There's too many layers of cream, barely even any cake. I just did not think it was worth it. I think you definitely pass on this.
This is the best chocolate cake I've ever had. You can serve it warm or at room temperature. It doesn't matter. It literally melts in your mouth. It's super moist and you're gonna love it. Let's make it. Go ahead and mix the eggs, oil, and sour cream. If there's oil and sour cream involved, you know it's gonna be moist. Yes, we're using store-bought chocolate cake mix and some chocolate pudding. Pour in the water. Mix until well combined, but don't overmix. Fold in 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Then pour the cake batter into a greased bun pan. Smooth out the top, and you're going to bake this at 350 degrees for 1 hour and 20 minutes, but start checking it at the 1 hour and 10-minute mark because every oven is different. For the chocolate ganache, simply mix equal parts of hot, heavy cream and semi-sweet chocolate chips. Let it sit for a few minutes until the chocolate begins to melt. Then mix it, and the longer it sits, the more it'll thicken. Pour it over the cake and enjoy.
Trying Brooklyn Blackout Co.'s Brooklyn Blackout Cake? Time to get fluffed up.
Look at all of those layers of chocolate.
That's stupid. That is one good chocolate cake. It's so rich, it's so chocolatey. The black cocoa also gives it a nice touch, and it has some texture from the outside. The one thing that makes a good cake to me is when it has different textures. If it's just like soft on soft on soft, it ain't for me. I will say that the sponge itself is just a tad dry, but the buttercream and everything else really brings the moistness, and it is a good balance.
I also found this cake at Walmart. This is the chocolate chip explosion cake. It's chocolate cake with edible cookie dough and marshmallow cream. Just look at it. You know I had to get it. Cheers. The chocolate cake is dry. The cookie dough and the marshmallow is good, but it's too sweet.
I don't even know how to react.
Guys, we're making another healthy chocolate dessert today, and I'm beyond excited. Today we're doing another moist gooey chocolate cake, and this one is also flourless, and it can be gluten-free, and it's got no added refined sugar. I'm coming up with these recipes like it's nothing. Every day we're just like spitting them out. So let's get into this because it's gonna be so good. And there's also no nut butter in this one, so if you're allergic to nuts, do not worry. To my bowl, I'm just gonna crack in 2 eggs to start. Should I go for one-handed cracks today? Maybe I should. Solid. I love the flavor of olive oil in baked goods, especially with chocolate. 1/3 cup. Always maple syrup. I absolutely love baking with maple syrup. I also love to use my scale because I hate dirtying. Measuring spoons, measuring cups. Less mess is what we want, right? 1 bowl. Ideal. About a teaspoon of vanilla. Quickly, we're just going to give all of these wet ingredients a little whisk just to bring together the oil, the sugar, the eggs. Once it's nice and glossy, you can start with the dry ingredients. Starting out with almond flour, we're gonna do 1.5 cups. Almond flour also gives these baked goods a really nice gooey texture. Not like your typical flour, although you could totally sub it for regular flour. Okay, now let's do some cocoa powder. This is gonna give us that deep, rich cocoa flavor. We're doing 3/4 cup of this. So to add some really good chocolate flavor and obviously to make these higher in protein and just overall delicious, take your favorite protein powder. 1 scoop, which is around 1/4 cup. I'm going to take about a teaspoon of aluminum-free baking powder, a teaspoon of aluminum-free baking soda, as well as about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And that's it. We're just going to whisk this all together really well. I am going to thin it out with just a little bit of some homemade oat milk. About a 1/2 cup. The smell, it's like the richest brownie batter you've ever smelled. So look at that. I'm going to take a couple squares of dark chocolate, break it up, and just add it to the batter for a little bit of gooiness. This is my 9x9 pan, just in here. All my Canadians, this smells like a Fudgio. I'm gonna bake this at 375 for about 20 minutes. Good luck. Okay, 20 minutes, it's perfectly cooked. I got some wet crumbs on my toothpick. Because I want the chocolate to drizzle on really nicely, I'm gonna carefully transfer it to my cooling rack. Oh man, this is a good one. I'm gonna take the dark chocolate and I added a little bit of coconut to it. I'm gonna pop this in the fridge for a quick sec. We're gonna cut into them right away. I have no patience today. Just forgot the Celtic salt. Listen to this. This test is much needed. It's so moist yet so cakey. It has that brownie flavor. The edges are crispy. The inside is so nice and moist. It's not too sweet. Insane. Have a good day. Okay, bye.
Try my followers' orders, Cheesecake Factory edition. This is Linda's fudge cake. It is like a 7-layer chocolate fudge cake. I got it with extra whipped cream, obviously, and it's got some like little chocolate shavings, or actually mini chocolate chips on it. So this looks so good. I've always wanted to try it, so perfect excuse to. All right, first bite. I'm obsessed with their whipped cream. If I could buy their like whipped cream machine, I would. Let's try some of the back like chocolate chip pieces. Oh, and the fudge part on top. Let me dip some of that. Dip it in some whipped cream. Wow. I love the back of this. Chocolate chips could even be layered throughout it too. That would make it better. This fudge on top is also super rich. It's rich, but not too rich. It's just like so perfect and subtle. It's really the perfect chocolate cake, honestly. This gets an 8.7 out of 10. What am I trying next, guys? Drop me your orders from fast food places. I want to go and get your orders.
4 words, frozen chocolate lava cakes. Let's make them. They're really easy to make and you can kind of just wing the recipe. It's not too specific. Just using 1 full stick of butter. So I think this is like half a cup of butter in a microwave safe container. Just keep an eye on it because butter like pops a lot. Here's the lovely hole that I created in my kitchen today. We need some espresso. Now about half a cup of chocolate in this butter. I'm gonna add in a little bit of that espresso. We need 2 whole eggs and then 1 extra egg yolk. Some sugar and then some salt. Mix the eggs until they're light yellow and fluffy. You need a few spoonfuls of flour. That's it. I'm gonna start with maybe like 3. I'm gonna go into the oven for 6 minutes at 450. I'll let these cool off, put them in the freezer, and then you can take them out at any time and heat them up for like 10 seconds, and then they will turn out exactly like this.
Decorating with chocolate ganache really is a game changer. This is the first time that I've tried it, so I'm going to share my recipe with you. I used a 2-to-1 milk to double cream ratio. And if you want it more runny, you'll just need to increase the level of liquids. There are a few different ways that you could make ganache. I just use the 30-second microwave rule where you just blitz it and keep mixing. As you saw, I prepared my fillings. I chose to mix salted caramel hazelnut with some double cream and then Nutella and hazelnut spread. Slice your cakes into even layers, and then choosing the chocolate ganache, you'll create a border so that the filling doesn't seep out. A really important thing for chocolate ganache is to allow it to set in the fridge. After that, you'll be able to mix it and it will have a firm consistency. And then the same thing with buttercream. If you just use a hot palette knife or a spatula, you will get that smooth finish. And of course, patience with baking really is a virtue. I just lack a lot of it. And I created a cute little border and I decorated it with some gold balls, which aren't edible. Add your message and that's it. As you can hear, I am ill. I'm not sure who else has caught this post-Ramadan cold, but hope you're all good. Bye for now.